add-ons, what is their purpose? So you should offer add-ons, for example, to sell extra copies of any item you have in the campaign. If somebody wants 2 of something, they want to order with a friend and save on the shipping expenses, that's the way to do it. They're also very useful to simplify your main tiers. So instead of creating 10 different tiers, you could create 3 or 4 and then allow people to build their own order adding add-ons. They're good to offer something that is not vital to the main product, but is nice to have. Take advantage of your back catalog if you have older games to sell. For example, it's a good way to offer them as an add-on because several people actually maybe missed your previous stuff, so they want it now. It goes without saying, but they're great to get some additional funds to your campaign that you wouldn't get with the tiers alone. And also, if with a stretch goal you unlock a new product and now you can make, you could allow people to add it to their order through an add-on. How do you know if something is an add-on or not? Basically, the question is your product functional without it? If the answer is yes, so you can use the product without this add-on, then this thing is an add-on. If not, if you remove that thing from the main product and the product is not working anymore, then that is not an add-on. You need to offer it in the main tiers. Keep in mind that some campaigns do this thing that some add-ons are included for free in the higher tiers just to push people to go towards those instead of paying for the lower ones. So that's also one thing you can do. A few things to consider. If you're making add-ons as new products, of course you need to estimate their production costs. Make sure that they are profitable if you make them in low quantities. For example, you want to make some special dice. Dice are not profitable in small quantities. You need to be sure that you will sell a certain amount of dice before they become profitable. So if they're only an add-on, probably not a good idea. They should be in some of the main tiers, so you know that you're already gonna sell a few hundreds of those, and then you can also offer them as an add-on, so if people want more, they can buy. But make sure that the math checks. If they're not profitable when produced in low quantities, then you need to have a plan to sell them after the campaign is over. What happens to this stuff? Like if your minimum run is 200 of this item and during the campaign you sell 40, what are you gonna do with the 160 that are left? You need to have a plan for that. If you don't have a plan, don't offer them. Something that is valid for all the add-ons, figure out how they impact your timeline. Make sure that making those doesn't delay the whole thing for months. I go back again to the example of dice. For example, dice can have a queue of 2-3 months of production. If you don't order them in time, they might push everything ahead a few months. Is that something you want? Probably not. So make sure that you have done your research. You know what it's gonna take to make them, and make sure that add-ons don't make what you're offering harder to explain to people, and manufacturing and shipping harder to handle. For example, many campaigns offer stuff like art prints or posters. I don't like those because to ship them without folding them, which is how most people would want to receive those, you need to use, for example, this round tubes to send that stuff, and those are incredibly expensive to ship, much more than normal flat packages. So make sure that you know exactly in the package where these things are going, and they do not impact your taxation. For example, dice and books have different taxations. So what happens when you send a package that has both inside and they are stopped at some kind of customs control? You need to take that into account, and of course you need to make sure that you are not leaving out from your bundles something that you want to sell as an add-on. Does it make sense inside the bundle or not? As I mentioned before, it might make sense because it will help you reach this minimum print runs that you might have to do to make a profit out of those. Let's see some examples. So on the left are some examples that I like. For example, for this campaign, this was for a tabletop RPG game, Shutter City. You could buy a map board made of carton instead of the one made of paper. You could buy additional dice, and you could buy handout cards, and those make complete sense to me. On the other hand, on the right, we have some add-ons that are bowls, and they are related to a board game, a fantasy board game. I honestly don't see what's the connection there, why anyone would want to buy some bowls that have the logo of this board game, and I don't think this has probably been the most successful add-on for that game. So sometimes people offer weird stuff. Try to make it relevant to what you're actually selling. So how do you handle add-ons? There are two options. This first one is the option that I used up to now. In the body of the campaign, on the left you can see what I add in the body of the campaign. There's a section called add-ons, and then you put a picture of what people can buy, a description, and the amount of money they need to add manually to their pledge. What happens is that when they go on a pledge manager like BackerKit, they will see they will have some kind of credit. They can select again the add-ons they want or change, because they have that. For example, if they would buy the extra copy of Broken Tales, 50 euros, when they would go to BackerKit, they would find themselves with a 50 euro credit. They could confirm that they want the Broken Tales, the extra copy of Broken Tales, or they could use those 50 euros to buy something else. For example, I don't know, the Broken Ones, which is 35, and then they want to add also the art prints, which is 20. So in the end, they would owe me still 5 euros. This is, in my opinion, the best way, even though it implies that they will need to do something by hand, because on Kickstarter you need to manually add that money to your pledge. Why I think this is better? Because they can see when they go on the pledge manager what they are actually buying. You can show them picture, you can give them a description. Because Kickstarter at the moment has this system that you can see here, that after you have done your pledge, you will see an additional page that says add-ons. So you can see it here on the right. And what is shown is just like title, what does it cost, and a description. You cannot see a picture. I do not understand why they have not implemented that yet, but that's the case at the end of 2021. So people need to remember from the page of the campaign, which they cannot go back to, what the hell was that thing. I think it's a terrible way to do it. I might use it in the future, because you can use this and still send people to the pledge manager later, so they basically having both options. One advantage of this is that you will know from the Kickstarter backend what kind of add-ons people have added. Instead, with the previous option, you wouldn't know exactly how they're spending that credit until the pledge manager is open. But I really don't like how the presentation of this, I think, is very uninviting. So I will stick to the previous version for a bit, unless they make some improvements to this.